Fears to Fathom is an episodic indie game that shows how real-life horror incidents may be turned into strong storylines in video games. There is a wide range of titles available in the horror gaming community. Some games contain ghosts, ghouls, and the otherworldly, while others focus on a more realistic terror. Fears to Fathom belongs to the latter kind. This is an episodic psychological horror game that was released in 2021 and offers several storylines for the player to enjoy. Fears to Fathom stands out since its episodes are based on true stories. 2 episodes are now available on Steam, the first of which is free. Rayll, the developer, is now working on the 3rd installment. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Real-life terror coming to life. Fears to Fathom has several endings, one of which has the main character surviving. As a result, if players want to get the greatest potential conclusion, they must read through the episodes carefully and make the appropriate decisions. Fears to Fathom's first episode, which is called Home Alone, is just about 10 to 20 minutes long, and most of the game isn't that frightening. At home, you take on the role of a 14-year-old, and while the game is an investigation of the mundane, knowing that something is on the way is undeniably beneficial. Fears to Fathom's methodical build-up will keep you on the metaphorical and physical edge of your seat for the length of the game. Despite its brief duration, the episode masterfully creates a gloomy and frightening mood. Players are headed for an anxiety-inducing trip when this is combined with the indications that something isn't quite right. Norwood Hitchhike, the second episode, has a significantly longer duration of roughly 40 minutes. The story revolves around a frightening hotel where mysterious individuals are aggressively attempting to harm the protagonist. The episode also includes a number of events that warn the player that something horrible is going to happen, although some of them are difficult to identify, and many players may not discover them until they play the game again. Overall, it builds on the uncomfortable features of the previous episode while maintaining the gloomy mood. In this episode, you play as Holly Gardner, a 19-year-old who is driving home from a gaming convention and opted to take the long route to escape the traffic, which led to an unintended excursion to a hotel. She had no idea what was happening in Norwood Valley. Her survival is dependent on the choices that you make for her. Both of these episodes put unlucky characters in extremely dangerous situations, and what makes them so horrifying to players is the knowledge that similar events have occurred previously. Furthermore, house invasion and stranger risk are legitimate concerns. In other words, these scenarios prey on very genuine concern, which is why the game is so unnerving. The game is a walking simulator in the classic sense. You must complete a few easy jobs around the house in Fears to Fathom. Things like putting food in the oven, grabbing some water in the middle of the night, and so forth. There are a few places where you may interact with the environment, check your text messages, and do some exploring about the home. Apart from that, there isn't much. Naturally, the game's atmosphere will keep you on alert. The home is lit in a dark brown tone in the evening, and the PS2 graphics highlight the restricted visibility. The pace is good, instilling a sense of dread and suspense in the player, but it's the fact that the game takes place nearly exclusively in the realm of every day that makes the experience so memorable. Fears to Fathom also contains a lot of intricacies that keep you on the edge of your seat. A man strolling outdoors isn't really frightening. However, when you hear the muffled smash of a shattered window or hear footsteps heading upstairs out of the corner of your eye, the puzzle pieces begin to fit into place and panic sets in. Spoiler alert, in Fears to Fathom, the decisions you make aren't very challenging. Outside your house, there's a prowler on the loose. If you hide and wait for the cops, you'll receive the happy ending. If you step outside to confront the stalker while equipped with a half-full water bottle, you'll get the horrible ending. Furthermore, it might be difficult to see what is going on at times. I get the reasoning. However, the low light combined with the dark tanned filter works well in some situations, so I wouldn't modify it. However, for certain players, this might be an issue. Mukul Negi, a 20-year-old game developer who goes by the handle Rayll on social media and on Steam, created the game. Rayll has been doing what most indie developers want, which is developing a title they want to play, based on his experience with terrifying situations as a youngster and thousands of gamers. The game has photorealistic visuals and a nostalgic look comparable to the VHS video appearance. If you are a 90s kid like me, then the visuals might even make you nostalgic. The in-game commentary is provided by survivors of these incidents. Another fun part of the game is that you'll occasionally get text messages from NPCs while maintaining the first-person experience. The almost lifelike visuals do a great job of making you feel as though you're in the scene. Simultaneously, the VHS effect provides an edgy mood reminiscent of first-person horror films like the Blair Witch Project. Unfortunately, while the game plays nicely, the biggest issue is that there is no indication of what you need to do next in order to advance the storyline. On-screen cues have a habit of disappearing too rapidly. As a result, you must choose between hiding until something happens and putting yourself in danger to move the plot ahead. For example, in the first episode, Home Alone, the game's environment suits the tense mood, but the inability to switch on the lights in the house with no explanation for the apparent blackout makes it impossible to see across the room. Marvelous Gamer's verdict. Fears to Fathom grew in popularity once the second episode was released on Steam, thanks to gaming YouTubers like Jack Skeptic Eye and Cub Scouts, who broadcast footage of it. Many of them praised the game's quality, complimenting it for portraying a realistic horror narrative while yet being frightening. As a result, more people downloaded the game, which increased its popularity on Steam. According to evaluations, both episodes are now regarded as very positive. The series' third episode has yet to be released. However, Rayll has intimated that it may be a graveyard shift or a house-sitting arrangement. He also invites game lovers to tell him real-life horror stories to help him develop future episodes of the game. According to an article in Input magazine, these fan-submitted stories have had a significant impact on Rayll's game narration style. The developer goes on to say that reading such stories gives him a better understanding of what it's like to be in life-threatening situations. It's a remarkable achievement that he was able to adapt these experiences into a video game format. If we have to review by judging them from the first episode, we think it is a masterpiece because of its linear design. It's an outlier in an otherwise perfect world, a story about a home invasion with an unavoidable ending that clearly and perplexingly maintains a player-character disconnect, even as they control the studious, oblivious teen narrated by a real-life victim to further cement the notion of unavoidable fate. In other words, it might be the most accurate video game version of Halloween ever made, even better than Puppet Combo's excellent babysitter bloodbath. Fate appears in the appearance of a hollowed man, revealing only a deep black exterior and an unnatural subject's piercing howl. A monster in the form of a passing glance at a suspicious person as his feet discreetly scamper up the stairs beyond the foyer, or when he may be seen standing at the front door in surveillance footage sent to the youngster through text message by his mother. Solace conjures up strange thoughts of the unknown lurking in the dark corners of a room. With gloomy audiovisual cadence and a suburban design that treads the line between manufactured and authentic, Home Alone effectively instills that same sense of impending catastrophe and the fascination it displays. Jump scares may be a convenient shortcut for developers and writers who don't know how to convey dread effectively. Nevertheless, here, as in Puppet Combo's Great Power Drill Massacre, the shocks are accompanied by a melancholy feeling of impending, perhaps even necessary doom. The story's modernistic representation of atrocity display is further emphasized by the fact that it was inspired by a Reddit post. A common scenario is performed by an author and a participant to ponder common human inquiry into the fascinating and fantastic unknown. Overall, Fears to Fathom shows how horror games may shock players without using any supernatural entities or deformed animals. It is frequently more than enough for malevolent individuals to accomplish terrible deeds. Overall, the Fears to Fathom series is a fantastic collection of horror games that can be played in any sequence. Despite the fact that each episode is short and linear, the mood and build-up to the jump scares is still rather powerful, making it a really unsettling little horror story that you're repeating. Just like it is said in the second episode, Monsters truly do exist, and every single one of them looks just like you and me. That's it for this video. If you liked this, then please do leave a like and comment below. What game do you want us to talk about next? If you are new to our channel, then please do subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye!